Everybody, we are back. It is Taped on Live. Favorite is podcast, favorite is channel, favorite is everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at mholder95 for Matt, and of course pandasubs.com, discount code TDL for 35% off. We're almost at Matt's 1 year anniversary of being a full-time TDL host. Remember, was at a full year here, Matt.
I didn't even realize that. I didn't even realize that. What is my what is the date?
I don't know. I think it's about like right now.
Yeah, probably be all right. Probably be close to it at least. Yeah. Happy year.
So.
It's our first year together, bro. How's it feel?
It feels
pretty
good.
Honeymoon phase is over now, I guess, right?
Yeah, man. Had a lot of things, we did pretty good, to be honest. I definitely did pretty good. Kept the show going, and actually, took it a little bit higher, a little bit too. So we're good. I like it.
Nice.
All right. So we're getting to some corners here, because the other day I was doing Football Outsiders, and I looked at the roster, and I had a little bit of a freak out in my head. I tried to stay calm and be optimistic at looking at it, but it was just they're just like one injury away from being awful, and you know what I mean. So we're looking at depth here, and actually looking at some starters. I think both these guys could start. So I'm looking at Xavien Howard and Stefon Gilmore today to kind of see what they could add, because they're both out there. I don't know if Howard he might have some issues, other issues he might be dealing with, but Gilmore's clean. I'll say that. But yeah. So we got to talk about Devante Adams. He threw his helmet on the ground and said he wanted to get the fuck out of here, and the trades rumors just skirted up. This just they're everywhere now. There literally was no trade rumors before receivers came out.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden he wants to be traded as soon as the receivers came out. So it's a weird dynamic. That's why I don't like talking about it that much, because it's literally because we saw clips of him from October 2023 and him throwing his helmet, and we're applying it to now. So it's just a little weird. So what are some of your thoughts on it?
I mean, I think he said that then, when very clearly, I think we talked about this last time, he just did not like Jimmy Garoppolo, and Jimmy Garoppolo kept getting him hurt, which he said in that I think that same clip that you're talking about too, or in that same episode or whatever. So I think his issue is more with Jimmy Garoppolo. People were talking about he did say oh yeah, my future with the Raiders was on the line or whatever. Basically, I'm paraphrasing a little bit there, but he basically said if they didn't make the switch that they did make, then he was going to ask for a trade or one out or whatnot. So I think the fact that they have Aiden O'Connell, and I think he clearly likes Aiden. I mean, he spoke pretty highly of him, and tooted his horn when he was promoting the show on on his media tours, and it's even as recently on that podcast with Shannon Sharp, where he was talking pretty highly about Aiden. So I think he clearly has he sees something in him that he likes. That I think as long as Aiden's around and he has a quarterback that he likes, doesn't want to go anywhere. I legitimately don't think he wants to play somewhere else right now. Come the season and say Aiden O'Connell's not starting, or Aiden O'Connell's not playing well, and the Raiders are not playing well, then it could be a different story. But because he has talked a lot about his legacy and wanting to get a ring, and he is going to be 32 this year if he's not 32 already. So I think his birthday's Christmas Eve or something like that. So he's getting up there in age, and he's talked about that too. Then maybe it just comes to discussion. But yeah, I think right now, I don't think the Raiders have any plans. I don't think the Raiders want to trade him. And I think if he legitimately wanted to be out, it would be a bigger story, like Brandon Ayuk asking for a trade right now. That is the other thing that fills the airwaves right now. So yeah, the way I look at it is, like you said, we're talking about a clip from October when they had a different quarterback that he did not like, and now they have one that he does. And I think it's more of a discussion of mid-season, again, if the Raiders aren't playing well, and if Aiden O'Connell's not playing well, or whoever the quarterback is, whether it's Gardner Minshew or O'Connell.
Yeah, I mean, especially from the Shannon Sharp interview, he sounds like he's the biggest Aiden O'Connell advocate in the building. I mean, that's what he said. He sounded like he's let the flower grow. Hey, I wasn't as good as a rookie. It was like all these things he was saying. I'm man, you really like this guy, but there's something that he sees in him that we don't see, because he even said something about it took time with him and Aaron. I was like, whoa, relax there, boy. He needed take a step back, but that's okay. Hey, if he believes in him, that means Aiden O'Connell's confidence is gonna be high. Because if I had one of the best receivers in the league believing in me, and there's all people online saying I'm gonna take this team to be in the first pick in the draft, but I got the best receiver in football, or one of them. And, you can say Justin Jefferson is better than him or whatever you want to say, but if I have that guy behind my back and being my biggest advocate, that gives me all the confidence in the world. So I think that is going to play into the season and the way he plays. And, Josh McDaniels' offense was a lot more difficult. Adams talked about that a little bit too with Shannon Sharp. It's really based on that. I think he likes Aiden O'Connell. He wants to see what he could do with Aiden O'Connell, see if it could work out. And if it doesn't work out with Aiden O'Connell, then he might be out of here, because he talked about Gardner Minshew for about 20 seconds. So,
yeah. I guess Devante Adams is just a sucker for a good mustache. You know what I mean?
I guess so, man. He likes a guy with a good mustache, right? A Midwest guy with a mustache. Yeah. I mean, well, Rodgers isn't from the Midwest. He's from the Bay, but
yeah, I guess Gardner Minshew has a mustache too, but we'll stick with it for now.
Stick with that for now. But it was funny, that interview. He's like, yeah, Gardner Minshew, yeah, he's played pro, but Aiden, man. It's just like, whoa, all right. Like, and I thought I was an Aiden O'Connell advocate. I was like,
yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, his word carries weight, obviously. I mean, like he said, like he made it pretty clear that his opinion on Jimmy Garoppolo was that he wanted Aiden O'Connell to start. So obviously that carries quite a bit of weight within the organization. I mean, he voiced his opinion for AP too. I mean, obviously other players did too, and it wasn't just him, but like, he clearly has some pull on the team, and kind of deservedly so with a player his stature.
Yeah. But it's really going to be that's kind of how it looks. It's going to be Aiden O'Connell's team until he loses the job, and maybe if he goes out there, and I think what would make him lose the job the most if he starts turning the ball over, he starts throwing picks everywhere, because that's the kind of the ugly part of it. I think if he can maintain, just be efficient, get some efficient drives going and score some points and get up on teams early, and they start fast and they get in the pass rush mode, I think they can make it work. I think that's good. That has to be their plan. They got to start fast and then control the game after that. But we'll see how this offense ends up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, dude. All right, so Xavien Howard, Stefon Gilmore. All right, definitely some cornerbacks that should be looked at by the Raiders. I know there's some other cornerbacks out there that are veterans, but these guys, I feel like these guys are still good corners in the NFL. I don't know what's happening, especially with Gilmore. Gilmore is super interesting. I don't know. Didn't make any sense. But what were your thoughts on Xavien Howard?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start by saying this. Look, it's a situation like you talked about, like with the Raiders cornerback and like the football almanac, like they're an injury away. I mean, they might not even be an injury away. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm a big Jack Jones fan, though. I can excited about what he can do. But let's be honest, the guy has 5 career starts and is an unproven guy. And like, I mean, need I remind people of from a few years ago of a guy like David Amerson, who shows them flashes, got paid, and then I mean, Jack Jones didn't get paid yet, but you know what I mean? Like those type of boomer bust players who can get those interceptions and stuff like that. Like sometimes they bust. Sometimes when they stop getting the picks, everything else becomes a bigger problem. So I definitely think where they're at with the corners, like it could be a complete disaster even without an injury. And then, like you mentioned, on top of it too, like if Jack Jones, God forbid, something were to happen to him, like they are very young. Outside of Brandon Faison and Cornell Armstrong, I think is his name, who I don't even know I don't think he's going to make the team. Like everybody else is on like a rookie contract or has less than 4 years in the league, including a guy like Nate Hobbs, who we're not worried about. But that's just goes to show how young they are. Like Hobbs is one of the more veteran guys in that position group. So it's young. So where I'm going with this is either one, Xavien Howard or Stefon Gilmore, is worth kicking the tires on and worth bringing in to see what they can do. I'll just say, and like we'll go through the clips and everyone else can be the judge too and let me know if I'm off on this. I kind of think Xavien Howard is cooked. Like just watching him from last year, his movement skills are not very good. Like he had he was getting beat deep by DeAndre Hopkins, who DeAndre Hopkins has never been like a burner per se. Like he's been a decent go route guy in the past, but he's also 31 years old right now, and losing to him. Treylon Burks, who, if you remember in the draft, ran a 4.55 40 at the combine, and his stock hit a little bit, got beat deep by him. It's changed directions, just not what it used to be. He still has the ball skills and like he still kind of has a knack for that kind of stuff. But similar to what I was talking about with Jack Jones, when that's not working, everything else becomes an even bigger problem. And he's just kind of become that. He's always kind of been that boomer bust player, but in the last couple of years, he's been a lot more bust. So, I mean, I went back and watched his game against the Titans, which I felt like was a pretty good way of summing him up, because he was targeted like 10 times, gave up 4 catches, ended up having 3 PBUs. So again, you get a little bit of the good, the bad, and he gave up like 77 yards. So like I said, pretty perfect for him to sum up his game, in my opinion. Like you get to see a little bit of his flaws and where he plays well. So, but yeah, I mean, we'll take a look at it. But yeah, for me, like he's just a guy that doesn't move like he used to, getting up there. I think he's 31 already. And just not the defensive player of the year. Did he win it? Or I think he got like second or whatever, that candidate that the year that he had like 10 picks and went on that string where he had like 20 in like 2-3 years. So just not quite that guy anymore. And I think that's a big reason why, if you look at what the Dolphins did in this offseason, they let him go because he was on a big contract and brought in a guy like Kendall Fuller, who's not exactly a spring chicken either, but is younger and playing at a higher level at this stage.
Yeah, that's super interesting because, because Gilmore is sort of opposite. Gilmore, he feels like, and when you say like, Howard getting beat deep, I kind of feel the same way about Gilmore, that he doesn't have that same kind of step, but anything in front of him and in press coverage, he is still really good. He was top 5 in press coverage grade in PFF this past year. Only got targeted like 19% of the time he's in press. A lot of the clips I have are against Puka Nacua and AJ Brown, and he's doing pretty well against them. So Gilmore is kind of he can be beat, all right, because he does a lot of guessing too. He feels like he knows exactly what every single team is going to do, but he does it different than Diggs do it. I could tell how he won Defensive Player of the Year. Like he basically knows what you're going to do, so he just acts like he doesn't, and he just cuts in front of it, picks it off. Like, because he tries to do that. I got one play where he gets totally embarrassed doing that. So it's a little hit and miss. Like the Packers did a good job of attacking him, but you also had to have a quarterback that throws dimes to beat him. And that's one thing I noticed too. If you don't have a quarterback that's not like precision, like let's say you have a quarterback that kind of will be a little bit inaccurate. If you miss with Gilmore, he's either going to get his hands on it or he's going to pick it off, because he's low-key baiting you to miss, and he's like baiting you to you could basically have to make the best throw that you can make possible. So it's interesting that way with him. But anything in front of him, man, it's pretty solid. Like it's not like I said, it's not like a superstar type of thing anymore. Maybe you could say that, but anything in front of him, it's just more if you can get by him, which if you have the speed guys to do that, but then you mix it in with the Raiders pass rush, with the same thing that happens with the Cowboys pass rush. It's not gonna be that easy to get those balls off unless you're Jordan Love, who can get hit and still throw it 80 yards. I mean, that's you know what I mean? It's those type of things that with Gilmore is a good fit for the defensive line, because anything in front of him, he's not gonna get beat really, right? And then if he gets beat deep, you're gonna have to make a great throw. And he's a perfect fit to mix with his defensive line, because they're not going to be able to you're going to have teams getting rid of the ball quick, and he's going to know that, and he's going to be able to make reads. And then they might get a lot of turnovers with him than with other teams. But, in off coverage, he struggles a little bit too, but in press, like, bro, he's still Stefon Gilmore in press.
It's kind of funny. I feel like we kind of like describe like similar players, but in different ways, because I will say like a few clips that I have of Xavien Howard, like he does play pretty well still in press. Like when he can get his hands on guys, he can be decent. But I don't know. It's just I feel like the biggest difference is like when you were just from describing it before we get into the film, like you're talking about like Gilmore being good at like the stuff that's in front of him. I think one of the issues I have with Howard is his change of direction is not what, like I said, like in short area quickness is just not good anymore. So like there are a few plays, like we'll see one where like he's playing off, and I don't fault him for getting off the catch, but he's also nowhere near DeAndre Hopkins when he catches the ball to be able to even have a chance at making a play on it and preventing completion. Yeah. So that's where I guess the biggest difference for me would be is I just don't trust Howard and the Xavier in the short area quickness that it sounds like you do with Gilmore.
Yeah. Gilmore still has the hips. He can still transition really well. All those things are still there. But I guess, that's probably the difference between Howard and Gilmore as the career. Like, Gilmore has always kind of been the best corner of football. Howard has stats of the best corner of football, but he's always been able to get beat. So those things fall off a little bit. But Gilmore is still he because like I said, most of my clips are against Puka Nacua, and Puka Nacua had like 1,500 yards. So it kind of shows that Gilmore can still shut down a top receiver.
Yeah,
type of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right. Let's get into Howard first. Let's check out Howard first.
Sounds good. Yeah. And on a high note for sure.
Yes, sir.
All right. So this is the other reason why I kind of thought we were describing the similar player is I'm going to start with a few clips where there are a few reps where I don't know what Xavien Howard was thinking, like where he just kind of has these brain farts. Like if you look at this one, this is what I was talking about. Him and press, like this is a great rep, like for like 80-90% of it. Like he gets his hands on DeAndre and he clearly knows what's coming and believes his cover 4 look from our classic Vic Fangio cover 4 look. And at this point, like he's in a good spot. And then for whatever reason, like I don't know if he thought it was going to be like a short end, like a China route or a dig route or something. And he's just guessing. But I mean, DeAndre runs the slant and it's a bad ball that doesn't get to the target. But he's like nowhere near him by the time the ball gets there. So again, it's like 90% of this was a great rep. And then for whatever reason, he cuts it flat right here while DeAndre works towards the 20. And I mean, a better pass from Levis, and that's a completion. And who knows if DeAndre can make that safety miss. Like we'll see it from this angle too. Like at this point, like I know the ball's out and he's probably trying to track it, but where are we going? Like we're nowhere near. And you can see him kind of have the oh shit moment here. Like, oh, that's where he ended up. Like it's just a weird rep where I don't know if I have a great explanation for it other than he just was guessing on the route and guessed wrong. This one, similar type of thing. Like it's cover 2 to put some context. This is right before the half. So I like that again in cover 2, get some hands on, disrupts the route. And at top of it too, like he carries with DeAndre Hopkins, doesn't take the cheese on this little flat route or short out route, whatever you want to call it. To, again, keep everything in front of him because this is before the half. They pick up the first down, no big deal. So I like that he carries them. But then we get to this point where now he's just got his eyes on the quarterback and he's not like following Hopkins' path or anything like that and ends up losing him as Hopkins works toward the sideline and he's still working pretty much or vertically and they end up completing the ball anyway. So that's where I'm like, again, 75-90% of this rep was perfect, did a good job. Like he's tightening the window, helping out the safety a little bit. And then for whatever reason, he just keeps working on his path instead of widening with Hopkins and they end up completing it anyway. So it's just a few things like that. And that's a minor thing. I mean, I don't mean to be picking on him too much, but for a guy that's a veteran, 10-year veteran or whatever he is at this stage in his career, like I would kind of expect him to play that a little bit better and be a little bit tighter on that coverage and make Levis check that down. Now, this rep too, probably should have included the first one, the play before this, just for context, because it could be a man coverage. And the Dolphins, for whatever reason, literally the play before, like Howard in this corner, like passed this off successfully. The Titans ran a similar play call. And then on this one, he just doesn't. So I'm not sure exactly what he's thinking, just a miscommunication or what. But again, he attacks Hopkins and stays attached to him. Like if you look at this nickel corner, I forget his name. He had a good year last year though. I forget his name, but like he's very clearly like looking to pass or pick up Hopkins and pass off this slot receiver on the switch release or on the rub route, whatever. And he just doesn't. Like you can even see after the play, like he turns to him, he's like, "What the fuck, dude?" the old palms up, like, "What are we doing?"
Thanks, bro.
So again, and if it wasn't the play before where like I watched them switch and execute it well, like I probably wouldn't include this and would just kind of like write it off as miscommunication. But that to me tells me Xavien Howard's wrong.
I'm kind of laughing because Levis still almost missed that throw. But anyways,
what's up?
Levis almost missed that throw still.
Yeah, Levis, this was a hilarious game for him. Just as a side note, he had he almost misses that throw. Like I showed you one. I showed you that one they missed to DeAndre Hopkins on the slant. And he also dropped some dimes.
I know. That's his film, bro. That's his film. Literally. Keep going. My bad.
Up and down. Moving on a little bit to the other things. So this rep's actually pretty good coverage from him. But the problem is Xavien Howard's never a big guy. I think he's like 5'10", 5'11", like maybe 205. Going up against the Titans tight end there, I can't say that guy's name, so I'm not even going to try. But it was the dude that everyone was hyped on in the preseason. Again, this is great, like great coverage. Like he reads the route pretty well, drives on it, and is in a position to make a play. But this dude's like 240, 250 and a little bit bigger, and just can use his body to kind of box out Howard here. And like it's happened a couple times. Again, not a bad rip or anything by any means by Howard, but he's just physically limited in who he can cover because he's not the biggest dude in the world. Like we'll get a good view of it from this angle. Like he almost makes a play on it, but because he's got to go through the guy that's bigger than him and he's not a big dude himself, the guy's able to box him out. Again, the as a side note, again, the roller coaster ride of Will Levis is a nice ball, also a nice catch in traffic. But yeah, just a few reps. Like we'll see another one here against coming up against Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. I think I said that right. But similar type of thing where like Westbrook's a bigger dude, 6'4", 6'5", I think 215, 220, and just has the size advantage. And like right here, Howard is cooked. Like he's got good positioning on him. He's making him go through his back. So then Howard's going to have to try and undercut it, but that makes it harder for him to like stay on balance and go up and make a play on this ball. Is like you can see, like I'll let that play a little bit. Like he kind of trips and loses balance, and he can't go up and get it because again he's got to work around this dude who's just bigger than him, and he's not big enough to play through the back of Westbrook-Ikhine, and basically just gets boxed out for a rebound touchdown, as I like to call it, to do a little cross-sport reference. We'll get a good view of it here at the right hand side of the screen. You can see like at this point like he's just kind of screwed because he's just not that big. Ball's over his head and just out of his reach, because he has to work around, can't really get up to contest it and use those good ball skills that he has. But move on to a few reps where the most concerning. This is the rep I kind of talked about earlier, going up against DeAndre, who not the fastest guy in the world. It's a cover 3 look 2, which cover 3, the basics as the deep third defender. You can't get beat deep, and you got to stay on top of this guy, but no hands at the line of scrimmage. DeAndre ends up stacking him, who's a good route runner, which is part of it, widening him and stacking him and getting like a step on him, which just can't happen when you're going up against a 31-year-old dude. And the ball's a little bit underthrown, which is kind of what invites Howard back into it. And then he does mistime his jump a little bit to not get the PBU, and it ends up being a big gain right before the half. We'll see how close he was on this, but again, like you just can't get stacked by a receiver in this situation because Titans were trying to score here before the half. And you just can't get beat deep at the end of the day. Like mistime the jump a little bit. Like you can see, like when he still has some ups when he can have his feet in the ground and not have to work around somebody. Just mistimed it a little bit there and ended up giving up a big play, which again, we just can't have in that situation. This one was even more concerning for me because not only is he going up against Treylon Burks, who again ran a 4.55 and not the fastest dude at the world, wasn't the fastest dude I thought at Arkansas, and he's in off coverage with 6-7 yards of cushion. Going to be a cover 1 look, I believe, this time. And just loses right here. I mean, that's open in the NFL. If Levis sees that earlier and doesn't underthrow it, like this is a big gain, right? Now, he actually does end up getting a PBU here, which I guess speaks to his ball skills. Which, again, he still has, but that's also because Levis, one, doesn't see it right away and isn't able to step into this throw because the center's getting his ass kicked. Like right here. Again, he can get up still when he has his feet in the ground. It's PBU, but if this ball is here instead of here, that might be a touchdown. Nice safety play too to come over and make that. Even more concerning, again, this rep specifically, I'm not going to kill Howard on for the coverage because this is later in the game. I think Dolphins might have been up 2 possessions. They were at least had the lead, so he's playing off and he's willing to give up the short stuff. But it's going to serve as a little like precursor to see what I'm talking about with his lack of like short area quickness and change of direction skills. Like, again, he's given up the catch to DeAndre here on this like 7-yard out route. But like, if you just watch how long it takes him to change direction and then drive on the route, like by the time the ball gets there, he's still a good 2 yards away, and he just has no chance to even be able to break on it. And then watch two, like as he makes this cut, like it's just super rounded, and to be able to accelerate or plant and accelerate and drive on the route, it's just not quite there. This one, we're going to see similar rep on this one. Like our next clip after this one's going to be similar. But again, kind of bites hard on the inside, out overplays his leverage a little bit, or doesn't trust his leverage to stay wide, and then gets beat on the out route, tries to speed turn to recover. But I mean, that's wide open in the NFL. Now, Levis ends up getting sacked here, I think, or scrambles, excuse me. It's because of the pressure, so it doesn't get the target. But like you can see, like, just not exactly the best at making those turns and changing directions anymore. And two, got to trust your leverage a little bit more and force that guy into your teammate. This is where it becomes a bigger problem. Again, similar rep here against the out route. Now, this is a nice route from DeAndre Hopkins. He does a good job of selling the inside here. But like this is the worst one to me. This one is the one where I'm like, all right, yeah, I am confirming what I'm seeing before. Like you can see, like, again, bites on the inside fake, and that's an easy pitch and catch. We're a good 5 yards away from our target or our man to give up the first down. And like, just watch him transition. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. Like it's just not the smoothest out of his breaks anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to the few good reps again. Like I said, we'll show a few ones. Still has some nice ball skills. This time it's going to be 3rd and long. He does a good job of understanding the situation. Going to kind of park himself at the sticks. Now this time, because again, he's just kind of more of a standstill and not backpedaling or moving, just kind of squatting. He does a great job of reading the route, recognizing the slant and keeping it in front of him and breaking on it. So damn near have a pick on this rep, which looks like safety might have got him where it real hurts. I've seen that move before.
Yeah.
Maybe if that doesn't happen, he gets the pick. So again, this is where you get a little bit encouraged with him being able to keep the stuff in front of him, and two, being a vet, understanding the recognition or the situation, making a nice break on the ball. Like you see, like he beats DeAndre to the spot this time. And I mean, damn, that could have been a pick again. And that shot probably didn't help him. This is another nice one. Again, in press coverage. This was actually, oh no, excuse me. This is not the one I was thinking of. That's the one after this. Like you see him playing soft shoe press this time. Does a much better job of working underneath the route. DeAndre doesn't do the greatest job of boxing him out and ends up making a play on the ball. So again, still has a nose for the ball, like even in a few of those negative clips. Like you see, he still finds a way to get around it when he can keep receivers in front of him and be able to make plays. It's just, can he have the movement skills to still be in that position consistently? And I don't know if I can trust him on that. But when he is, again, another near pick, like he can still make those plays on the ball. That's for sure. Those ball skills haven't gone anywhere. Last rep here. This is what I was talking about with the press coverage, where I was really impressed. This was actually, I think, the play after that long reception that DeAndre had. So a nice recovery here. I do think he has some mental resolve at least, because the other play before this, that was all in one sequence. So does a good job of at least making the Titans end up settling for a field goal here to cover his ass a little bit. But anyway, you can see him in press coverage, getting physical, getting hands on DeAndre. And I mean, that's a perfect way to defend a goal line fade, to basically just never let this guy off the line. And then on top of it too, those instincts, those ball skills, go up and track the ball and damn near get a pick, but just didn't quite get that second foot in bounds. But see it from the other angle too. Again, I think he can be effective in press coverage. I'd like to see him just go for the jam more often, because as we saw a few times when he does the soft shoe coverage, not quite as good, and that's where his movement skills can become an issue. But definitely a physical dude who can, again, be good in press and has those ball skills that we think we saw in the past to rack up all those PBUs and all those picks. Just a matter of, can he keep guys in front of him?
Yeah, I mean, definitely did not look like Gilmore tape. I'll tell you that. Yeah, because yeah, he could definitely be beat here. And it felt like we had the younger version of him already, like in the building. That's kind of what
Yeah,
it feels
Jack
like a little
Jones.
bit. Yeah,
Yeah,
we got the younger
right,
version
yeah,
here
for sure.
already,
The
right?
younger one that can move.
You know what I mean? That can move and make some plays and be a playmaker, right? Because Jack Jones is that type of guy where he won't have a high PFF grade, but he could have like 7 or 6 interceptions throughout a season just because he just knows things and makes plays and has great ball skills. So that's the thing that kind of see with Xavien Howard too. He's kind of the same type of player, but when you turn 31, like you don't have the technique to actually be a great corner in itself,
Right.
then you're going to start to see guys just getting open on you like crazy. So yeah, that was interesting to watch because to me that's a pass. I'm passing on that pass.
Yeah.
If I was the Raiders.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way. But again, when I look at their then I go back and look at their depth chart and I'm like, you know what? When the hell not? Maybe.
Maybe, right? Yeah, that's a good point, but it's just I don't know.
I'll put it this way: if they signed him, I wouldn't be like expecting him. Like I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, that guy's a surefire starter and going to be there like the starting cornerback that they need. It would be like, okay, they got a veteran in there who has a good resume and a good track record. Now let's see what he can do and see if he can still be it. That's where I would be at with him.
Yeah, I'd be more depth. You know what I mean? More of a depth thing. All right, let's get into some Stefon Gilmore here. All right, so kind of just mix it up. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of good film. I mean, the games I watched, there really wasn't a lot of bad film. I mean, I watched the Eagles, I watched the Rams, and I watched the game against the Packers. There's just not a lot of bad film from him, to be honest. So you see him here gets off coverage in the back pedal. You see him able to kind of just stay square. He just waits for AJ Brown to make his move because he trusts his ability to change directions in his transitions. You see he's still able to get physical with him at the top of the route. He's just no chance for AJ Brown on that one. And this is him in off coverage. This is what he really struggles with the most is off coverage. And you still see that he still has some good ability here. Stay square. Of course, first Hurts to kind of get out of the pocket here. You see the ability there. So here he is against off coverage here and backpedal one more time here against Cooper Kupp. So like I said, he does a great job of film because you already see that he's creeping inside before Cooper Kupp is even running his route, right? He feels like I know from this formation and what these guys are doing, right? You got they got a little bunch here, got the motion. He's like, okay, I know exactly what they're gonna do here. He's already going inside a little bit, anticipating the dig route, and he's right. Boom, he's right there. So maybe some great timing if Stafford has some great, and of course Stafford could probably make that throw on time and get it in there, but it would have been tough, right? It would have been a tough throw for him. But you could see that the anticipation that he has of routes, like he is a film guy too. Like he understood based on that formation and that motion that he might get this certain type of route concept, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna get some inside leverage and breaking that ball pretty quick here. So here he is in press coverage where he does a great job here in press coverage. You'll see. You talk about opening the gate. He never opens the gate. You see, he knows exactly what's happening here. He basically runs the route with Nakua. He's not really worried about it.
Nice rep.
You see one more time here. Like this is how you play press coverage in the NFL. I mean, he's still, like I said, he's the 5th best corner, the highest graded corner in press coverage on PFF, right? I mean, better than some of the best corners in the football. He's still super consistent here in press coverage. You see, and like I said, this is against one of the best wide receivers in the NFL right now. He's actually a pretty good route runner. I was watching this game. But and this is what I'm talking about with a little bit too is with this pass rush because you see that the Cowboys are getting after Matthew Stafford, and if he's able to anticipate these things, like this guy's not open on a quick release or anything, like these guys aren't open, and that's what you're gonna have to see from the Raiders secondary is stopping these short throws, and because these teams are gonna be trying to get rid of the ball quick. So you see him here one more time, locked up on Nakua. I can say his name correctly because he's such a big player. But but you see one more time, he stays square. Like I said, never opens the gate early. I mean, Nakua tries to give him his best move here, tries to sell him inside a little bit. He does not move at all. He probably knows that he doesn't run slants, so he's not going to move. Like, you don't run slants, bro. I know what you run. And you see, and he has that leverage right there. He's all over it. Even gives him a nice little veteran hold there, if you can see it. Just grab that arm a little bit right there. Do you little veteran hold. Yeah. But like I said, press coverage, he is so consistent. Like, this is consistency. Like, you could, what they run, Rays run a lot of cover 3. If they pick him up and, they get some blitzes on, they could do like a lot of Mabel coverages where they could just have him one-on-one in press coverage. And you feel pretty comfortable, even at age 33. Because look at this. This rep right here is like the definition of what I'm talking about here. So here he is against Nakua one more time. And like he said, he does not move. He lets him make his move first, and then he has a good understanding of what he's going to do. And then he gets his hands on him, and Nakua's on the ground. It just messes up the whole play, and that's where Stafford was going. If you watch Stafford's eyes here, Stafford's going to Gilmore, and Gilmore just basically, and that's a big dude, and because Gilmore's physical too. He's a big physical guy. Nakua is not small. No. That's not a small guy, right? And maybe he loses him right there because but Stafford's already off him. He's trying to go somewhere else because he's falling into the ground. So, and this is what I'm talking about with like the pass rush, mixing him in with the pass rush a little bit. Is you get these quarterbacks to hold the ball just a second, with the defensive line like this, man, they're all over him. This is what the Raiders defensive line is going to look like, in my opinion. I might be wrong, but I doubt it. And this is what I was talking about too, that you got to have a quarterback who throws dimes to beat him, okay? Because it's another great rep, in my opinion, right? He kind of gets Nakua actually kind of gets him here because he does a good job of getting him to come inside. He sells a slant really well, right? Boom, and he gets outside here because he wants to run this corner route, right? And Gilmore, like I said, he does like to anticipate. So he knows, okay, I know what they're going to do. I know he's going to run a corner route here. I'm going to try to pick this off because I got the sideline here. I'm going to use the sideline. Only he can't throw it to a certain spot. Stafford gets this ball in, which is just crazy. Now, Gilmore does a great job of playing through his hands. Yeah, this is a crazy throw. He does a good job of playing through his hands and breaking this pass up. But, man, that throw.
Yeah, but like you said, like he played that perfectly, and then like you said, like a perfect throw's got to beat me, and then if it does, I'm gonna rip the hands. Like that's a vet move right there. I like that a lot.
Yeah, and this is why he's Defensive Player of the Year. Just look at it, but look at the window that you have to fit this in. Because if he misses, right? Because what you don't see, which he turns his eyes around first, right? But then he realizes this is a dime, which I think is a great awareness because he realized like, oh my God, this is a dime. I got to break this pass up. He does a good job of getting his hands on it. Right. Great rep.
Yeah. Use the end line as his friend too. Force him out. It's a nice play.
It's a great rep, man. He still can play, bro. He can play. Now, this play is what I call it's called forecasting, right? No, that's not the word, but it doesn't matter. See how he kind of he knows that I'm getting play action Yankee, right? Type of thing, but it ends up being a wide leak. But see how he just knows I'm getting it over from play action. He's like, I'm gonna bail. He's got Christian Watson's pretty fast. He does a good job of getting to him, but of course you got the wide leak wide open. And it's funny. This is the same play. Remember we did this with Badgett?
Oh yeah.
It's the same exact play. And we thought, was he supposed to throw the wide leak? Jordan Loves just showed us. Yes, he was.
All right.
Answer that question for us, Matt.
There we go. I'll shut up now.
Thanks, Jordan.
Oh, 14. That couldn't have been fun for that linebacker in the meeting room. think that was on 14. Oh no, probably might have been. Yeah.
This guy right here.
Yep.
Yeah, 14.
Oh
yeah,
boy.
Yeah.
Is this the playoff game?
Yeah, it's playoff game. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
At
least they got eliminated. Didn't have to hear it from the coach.
Just went home.
So yeah.
But this is what I'm talking about. You're talking about Howard with speed. I think Gilmore has a problem with speed here because you see here this is Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp. I don't remember what his 40 time was.
Wasn't good.
It wasn't very good. But you see here he does a nice little route. He's getting by him. I don't know why Stafford did not throw it to Cooper Kupp on this one because that should be the Cooper Kupp. He throws it to the sideline. He's beat, right? And Kupp is a big time receiver. If it's underthrown a little bit, he still has the leverage to kind of on Gilmore to make a play on the ball. But Stafford was kind of spooked. They're already down like 33-3 here. And you see here, this is actually against Tutu Atwell. You see here, right? And he kind of just he has good leverage here, right? But it's just he just can't stay with him. And then, like just to say that Stafford threw this ball to him, which, like I said, Stafford's in hell, so he's just trying to get rid of the ball. If he just threw it, you could see like where Atwell could be led. He's not hanging out with Atwell if he just throws it as far as he could. Unless Atwell get it, he's done. He's cooked. So yeah, with deep routes, there's a little bit of an issue there. Okay, now this is another player I talk about dimes here. Because I think he does get beat on this route, right? So this is him in off coverage. This is just one of the better throws you'll see in football. And he gets beat here. You see he kind of stumbles a little bit. But, he's so good at his transitions that he able to recover. But see here, you talked about with Howard, how Howard's not able to stay on top of him. He could have stayed on top of him, in my opinion, on this one, right? Yeah. And he has the physicality to do that, but he thought he's like, there's no way that he's going to get this ball in here. He's going to throw it like a normal quarterback would throw a post route, right? This is what he's thinking. And he was just very wrong.
Gambled a little bit.
Yeah, gambled a little bit. But I just from the average NFL quarterback, I mean, that's not a bad gamble. Because he still was able to recover, but it's just his throw. The throw beat him more than the receiver beat him at first. He was able to recover a little bit. But he was able to. It's just the throw beat him. But like even against like not burner receivers, more physical receivers, like let's say like AJ Brown, he's still able to be really good in press coverage against them on go routes. See, he just kind of getting real physical with AJ Brown. Of course, that's a dime by Jalen Hurts too, right there. But you see the consistency he has, man. He's just consistent.
Yeah.
But sometimes like guessing can even get him in trouble. Like this is the biggest example of him guessing. And I'm going to show you why he's guessing here, because this is a West Coast offense team. All right. So they're doing play action, right? If you see here, I mean, this is Yankee. You're thinking over deep post here, right? I don't know if maybe you guys remember this play from the playoff game, but it's just not what he thought it was. You see, he's just totally lost. Like he's literally looking for him to throw it. And then the Dobbs is like, nope, I'm going this way. And look how open he is.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a little bit of game planning too. That's like Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur is like, I know Gilmore's going to guess here. Right. So I'm going to switch it up on this one.
Yeah.
And I got the quarterback to make that throw while I'm getting hit.
Yeah, that was a really good play call because basically using Gilmore's like veteran instincts against him. Because you're right. Like he's like, all right, I know what this is. I'm gonna undercut this, and then all of a sudden the receiver's going the other direction.
Yeah, he's super confused. He's like, where are you going? What the hell? But yeah, so I don't know how much that is. I mean, this was like $5 million. That's the best $5 million you could spend right there. Right? He's still pretty damn good. But go ahead, Matt.
I was gonna say, to put it in perspective, $5 million is I think what Marcus Peters made last year or something like that. Like maybe it was $3 million, which $2 million. Who cares? Like, yeah, I mean, I think Stefon Gilmore came out and said he's like, I don't think there's what did he say? I guess 64 corners or whatever. I don't remember the number he said, but basically I don't think there's like, X amount of starting corners better than me. And I mean, I have to agree. Like, I don't think he's the number one that like we've seen in the past, the defensive player that we've seen in the past year that we've seen in the past. But like you said, he's still a damn good corner. I think the problem is he's 33 and he had like off-season shoulder surgery, which is probably why teams are staying away from him. But again, I mean, I'll take an upper body surgery on a 33-year-old over a lower body. You know what I mean? Like at this stage in the game. And again, going back to it, you look at the Raiders cornerback room, they at least could use a guy that has a defensive player year on his resume to be a veteran, like coaching pads almost at this point. But
yeah,
I think between the two guys, like one of the biggest things that stood out to me is like when I was talking about Xavien Howard being good in press, he's good when he can jam guys and he can get his hands on them to make them declare. But like we saw the one rep of him, or one of the reps in him in soft shoe where he's not getting hands on, like, and he was much quicker to open the gate and giving himself up right off the line. Whereas like you saw, or you pointed out with Gilmore, like very much still stays square and makes the receiver declare and is better when he doesn't need or not as reliant at winning at the line of scrimmage with his hands and with his jam as a guy like Xavien Howard is.
Yeah. Gilmore's just really consistent in press. Like he's still one of the best press corners in football. I mean, it's really not debatable. I mean, you could go whatever stat you want to look at. I mean, he's up there. His off coverage is a little bit of his issue, but to me, like you could pick him up, and if you want to, mix it up with him, and like it's third down and you want to blitz, you got a press cover corner that you could just bring in, and he could play press sometimes. I mean, it's not gonna hurt you, right? Because he's not. That's what I mean. Like by the time that the pass rush gets there, I mean, you're gonna have to do some really good moves to get past him, right?
Yeah.
And
and quickly.
Yeah, because even Nakua's a rookie, and that's why he was having probably some struggles because you're going against Gilmore, you're a rookie. It's gonna be a little tough for you, but I mean, he did pretty good against AJ Brown too. So it's not that he can't still stop those guys sometimes. I mean, the speed guys, like you put him on press against Tyreek Hill, is probably not gonna be fun for him. It's not gonna be a great day, but like most people not. But like some guys can like get physical with Tyreek Hill. Gilmore, it wouldn't matter anymore. Gilmore can be long and physical like Snead. He's still running past Gilmore. It doesn't. But with other players and more physical wide receivers that are in the Raiders division, and he can help out a lot. So it's definitely a lot of more upside with him coming in and elevating the Raiders defense to where we actually think they could be at the end of the year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I've been pounding the table for them to sign Gilmore for a while now, for a few months now, and glad to see that I'm not the only one. I'm glad to see the tape and the breakdown and kind of confirm what I thought, or might not be the study was in the past, but can still play for sure.
Yeah, bro. All right, guys. We're out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Also, make sure you go and you cop a t-shirt from the TDL merch. We got gets you. It's summertime, but you could get you a sweater for the winter. I mean, you just mix it up. Mix it up. Could get you some some merch, some Tipped Online merch. And I appreciate everybody that has already bought some. So, like I said, guys, we are out of here. It's almost training camp. We got about a week away, and we'll start talking about some real football. Like I said, we're 2 or 3 weeks from film. Some new film. We're getting excited here. We're about to get some new film for you guys. Some fresh breakdowns. It's gonna be fun. All right. So we're out of here. Peace.